Hello and welcome to another video. Today I wanted to discuss the settlement mode in the Fallout Wasteland Warfare miniatures game. It's part of the campaign handbook. I must have read the rules for this so many times and it was really confusing me. I had a look around, see if I could find any sort of better explanations of how it works. Looked at videos, I couldn't find anything, so I think I've got a pretty decent idea on how it works now. Apologies for the camera work if it's a bit rubbish. I'm having to film this left-handed with one hand as I've recently broke my arm, so I will just be using components included in the 2-player starter set. I'm not going to be using the settlement deck that you can buy separately. I haven't picked that up yet, so we'll get straight to it and explain how it works, how you start it up, and the advantages for doing it. So the settlement mode allows you to have a settlement that you build and you can improve it over time. It allows you perks, it allows you to have items, go scavenging for stuff, meet people, go on quests. A lot of really interesting stuff that adds to each of the battles that you'll have. And the way to get started is forget everything that you've done prior to building the settlement. This is because all the perks that you'll get, which is things like keeping items from one quest to another, earning caps, all that stuff, it's all wiped out as soon as you build a settlement. This is covered in this section of the rules where it says any caps earned during battles up to the start of building a settlement are gone because you use them to build the settlement, and you won't be able to keep any of your cards that you might have used previously because, again, that's part of the perks for the maintenance shed. Retain a card after battle. So what you need to do first is you need to create your settlement. Now the settlement is listed here in the rulebook that you'll get to start the game, and it consists of 2 generators, 1 stores, 1 maintenance shed and 1 listening post. That's a total of 5 buildings. The number of structures that your starting settlement has is 15, but you're only using 5 slots at the moment. Each of those settlement buildings uses 1 power, and your 2 generators generate 6 power. So again, you don't need to worry about that. However, that's what your settlement's going to be at the start because you don't do the settlement phase at the moment. The first time you play after you've built your settlement, you are going to be quite restricted by what you can do. You won't be able to build anything because you won't have any caps to build them. When you get to the draw phase, you don't actually have any of the buildings required to draw any cards. So you can ignore that as well. And then the next one is where you'd select from your cards what you found from the stores and whatever and everything else. So because you don't have any of these item structures to draw cards, you're not going to be able to draw anything for now. So you can pretty much ignore that, and that means you're going to be taking into battle a squad that's only going to have the default equipment that they have equipped to them. So this is just using the starter box stuff, and those are the points values that are provided on the website. You can see the super mutants have a small points advantage. I have just given the sole survivor and the brute a leader trait and made them heroic just for the sake of just sort of buffing up the points and stuff. Once you've finished your first game, you'll then get awarded some caps depending on whether you won or lost, and then you can go to the settlement phase. After the first game, my sole survivor, well, let's say she found a Nuka-Cola on the battlefield. Now, because your starting settlement has a maintenance shed, you're allowed to keep 1 card after battle. Now that just has to be a card that didn't come from the stuff that they started with. So as the sole survivor comes equipped as standard with the hunting rifle, and heroic and hunting things are just applied to her character, the Nuka-Cola is that extra item card that I would choose to keep that going in to the next the settlement phase. So that would kind of form the start of my item deck that I could draw from for the next battle. As I won the previous game, winners get 200 caps to spend, losers get 120, and if the battle featured forces that were over 1,000 points, I believe, you get an extra 50 points per side. So we'll just say that this was a standard battle using those starting forces, 433 points. So I would get 200 points caps to spend on structures. Now important structures here. You can build all kinds. I mean, there's infrastructure, crafting structures, item structures, there's boost structures, there's all kinds. Now, for example, with these 200 points that I've got, I really want to be able to draw item cards. So what I would do is you look at the item structures. If you look at each one, there's 3 tiers of each, and essentially what they allow you to do, if you buy the cheaper tier, you just draw 1 card and keep 1, draw 2 cards and keep 1, draw 3 cards and keep 1. So you only ever get to keep 1 card per structure, but you get to draw more of them, so you get a better choice. Each of them is linked to a different type of card as well. So if you build a scavenging stand, you have to just draw the top card of the item deck and you keep it, that's it. But you've obviously got, if you want to sort of concentrate on weapons, you pick the weapon stand, and then you actually draw cards from the item deck till you find a weapon. Clothing stand till you find clothing, etc. Building more stores, it's 150 caps per stores. Obviously at the moment the only item card I've got to retain is this Nuka-Cola one. Obviously the 1 store that I have will allow me to take that into battle again with me. However, I'm thinking at the moment I'm probably going to look to build, again, none of my characters have got any armor, so I'm going to build an armor stand. Now that's going to cost me 100 caps, but that will allow me to draw the first armor card that I find in the item deck and keep it. So building the armor stand is my 6th building in my settlement. It allows me to draw 1 armor card and keep 1. It costs me a power. So this now puts me at 6 generated power from on 2 small generators, and I've still got 100 caps left to spend on other stuff going forward. So now that I've been through the build phase, I've finished building my armor stand. I then get to step 2 of the phase, which is the draw phase. Now this is where you use your structures to draw cards from the various decks. So you can do this is where you also do your exploration phase. So looking at the buildings that I have, I've got armor stand that allows me to draw 1 armor card from the item deck. Again, I'm one-handed at the moment, so I've had to do this off camera, but I've been through the armor deck, and the first armor card that I found was this damaged hazmat suit, which gives an armor value of 3. So I'm going to get to keep that and add that to my available items for the next battle. If I'd have built some boost structures, I could have also sort of drawn and kept some boost cards, which are these ones. That would have given me stuff, but again, because I only have 1 stores right now, I can only take 1 item or 2 boosts into battle, so I decided to go for items and get this hazmat suit. And then finally, because of my listening post, it allows me to explore, so I get to draw a card from the explore deck. Now the explore deck has got various things that happen in the game, and again there's a few different types. So you draw 1 of the explore cards, that's these ones, and you read the card. So we've got this: what's that dog meat? Someone needs help. The caravan's master is up to their chest in oozing quicksand when you arrive. So again, do you risk helping the stranger back to solid ground? If you do, gain 75 caps and a damage. And there are other ones there, these ones that have the consequence card written on them. So this gun for hire card. This one here is, you would, during your explore phase, you could choose to pay 30 caps. This is why it's always a good idea to keep some caps over after the build phase. Pay 30 caps and this mercenary will help you out next battle. And then the consequence is, resolve this attack on any 1 model of your choice. So as it's a consequence card, this card would get added to the event deck that you build before you start the next battle. And then when it comes up, because it's the card that you would have added to the event deck, you get to resolve it and you get to get the benefit. Doing the explore action using the listening post costs you 50 caps. And you can do it multiple times as well, so you can explore over and over again as long as you pay the caps. You can upgrade your exploration structure to do it for free, and even to be able to discard exploration cards if you draw one that you don't like the look of. And then finally we get to step 3 of the settlement phase, which is where the number of stores dictate what you can keep to take into the next battle. So again, I only have 1 stores, which means I can take 1 item or 2 boost cards into my next battle. So out of my 2 items that I've got, is this Nuka-Cola or this damaged hazmat suit. Now I'm thinking here that the damaged hazmat suit is very likely to be more useful than the Nuka-Cola. So I would choose to keep the hazmat suit and discard the Nuka-Cola. Now because it gets discarded, you get to receive the caps value as well. So if I consult, the Nuka-Cola is worth 30 caps, so I can add that to the amount of caps that I have. Now I did mention quest cards earlier. They don't really directly get affected by anything that you can do when you build. Settlements don't provide you with quests. It is just a case of if you want a quest, you just get to take one before the battle starts. However, the quest cards are useful in settlement mode because to add extra structures to your settlement, you can either spend 500 caps or complete 5 quests. So completing the quest is a good idea because it's an easy way. Well, I say an easy way, the quests aren't easy, but it's certainly a way that you can look at expanding your settlements without having to pay the 500 caps. Now I'm not going to get into details about all the different ways that you can upgrade your settlement. There's so many different variations, so many different buildings and structures and ways that you can tailor it as you play and as you earn more caps. You are always limited to the points value for each battle though, so obviously if you've picked a battle that has a 750 point limit, that's the limit that you've got to use. So, you know, maybe paying loads of caps to be able to bring loads of cards maybe isn't the best idea, but it could be good because sooner or later you might want to play a bigger battle, and if you've got that option to be able to bring loads of armor, draw loads of armor cards, it might be a good idea. So I believe that's pretty much it covered. If there's anything that I've missed or if there's anything that I've got really wrong, by all means let me know in the comments. So thank you very much for watching and good night.